When Elvis hit the scene, he came with a giant bag of charisma, a new style, a new sound, and a fan base that couldn't be tamed. So, who you gonna call to manage all that? This guy. But who is he? And what kind of experience does he have? Not sure? Stick around and find out. It's up next on this episode of the Elvis Impact, and it all starts in just 3, 2, 1, go. Let's check the audio. Hello, 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 hello.
Christmas, Christmas, Charlie Brown, Charlie Brown.
Funny.
You are funny. You never miss a beat.
That's funny, man.
You never miss a beat. How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yay.
Busy day, but
true.
good to be here. Good to be here.
It's always good to be here. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Elvis Impact. I am your host. I don't know why I said it that way. I am your host, Todd Papes.
And I am Kathy Lee.
We want to welcome you in. We are so happy you are here today. We have a subject that could go either way for some people. Could be controversial, although it's not really controversial. It's more of the fact of, like, whose side are you on, I guess. So we are going to dedicate today's episode to a gentleman known as Colonel Tom Parker. Elvis's manager for many, many years. Began as a promoter and basically, obviously, was with Elvis for the large majority of his career. He just was the man responsible for a lot of ways for helping get Elvis onto the scene and getting him on the map and putting him to where he was. And then some could say that he was also responsible for some things that people really don't care for.
And some things that didn't happen.
Yeah, so we'll get into some of that as we do today. But I guess we should probably just start and talk about the fact that Colonel Parker came over from the Netherlands, and he was under a totally different name. His real name was Andreas Cornelius Kuyk. Born in the Netherlands, but always is known in the U.S. as Colonel Thomas Andrew Parker. As a younger person, I don't remember if something happened to his parents but for whatever reason, I believe he was living with other relatives before he came over here. He attempted to come over here to the United States. He had 2 attempts. The first attempt did not turn out well. He got turned back. And then the second attempt on his way over, somehow he was able to, and correct me if you heard otherwise, get onto a steamship, a cruise line, that somehow or another, according to the passenger list that was found at some point, was funded by the U.S. government. So that's how he ended up over here. And made his way here. And then as he got here, part of his dream was to go to the U.S. and be able to make a lot of money. Because, back then, that was one of the things that a lot of people came over for.
Land of opportunity,
yeah.
America.
So that was his goal, to come here. And he took some odd, I wouldn't say odd jobs to get there, but basically he ended up working into his way through, I think, some sales gigs or something like that when he was young. He had some ties in Florida somewhere that they asked him to go do some promotions work for this entity, right? So Colonel Tom goes to the promotions. He kind of likes what he does, and he kind of sees this might be where his opportunity is to kind of get his foot in the ground or in the door, and then make what he wants to make out of it.
Remember the ponies?
No, was that part of the whole
Parker ponies?
No. Oh, you know what? Actually, yeah, I think I do remember that now.
I think I'm saying it right.
Was it? Yeah.
With the pony show. Eventually he got into showbiz.
Yeah.
But the carnival showmanship, there was something with ponies.
Yeah. I think
a traveling pony show.
Yeah, that's right. I do kind of remember that.
Then he got into carnivals and he became a carnival barker.
Yeah. So he would go and obviously as a promoter, he learned to promote very well. Learned to, kind of, if you're not familiar in that kind of capacity, you kind of got to really be up. You got to be pushy. You kind of got to stick your nose in people's business to basically get them to, buy, whatever it is you're trying to sell. So he kind of picked that up along the way.
Yeah, that's where he developed his skills to be a business promoter.
Yeah.
To say, also known, a carnival person.
Yeah. So as he's going around and he's doing this, obviously he takes some of these different places. Now, at some point or another, I think what happens is, if I'm not mistaken, he ends up on, is it the Hayride where he first bumps into Elvis? Is that where that comes about?
Yes, because that's when it was getting to be too much for Bob Neal.
Yeah, so we might be skipping a little bit.
Yeah, because before that, the Colonel Tom Parker was it was a manager for Eddie Arnold.
Yes, correct.
Hank Snow,
Minnie Pearl.
Minnie Pearl. Howdy. I had to. I had to.
I just want to say something here. So before we started the episode,
I had to.
We were going through some notes and she said something about Minnie Pearl because I'd put something down about Minnie Pearl that it was one of the things, and she's like, "Dare I go there?" I was like, "I don't care."
It was a lot louder.
I said we're just missing like a price tag and a hat. Would be good to go.
I had to work it in. But no, that's how he got into to be the music promoter. And then him and Eddie Arnold had a fallout.
Well, but first, before they had a fallout, Eddie Arnold. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're talking about Eddie Arnold. I'm thinking of Hank Snow. Go ahead. Just. I'll stop. Go.
I lost my train of thought. No, so that's how he went from the Carnival Barker, Carnival promoter. Then he started dabbling into the musical world.
Yeah.
And then that's when Bob Neal was promoting Elvis, and Elvis has just went from 10 to 100 really, really fast, and it was just too much. And the Colonel, being the businessman that he was, saw cha-ching. He saw money, and so he stepped in, and that's when he started promoting Elvis, picking up what Bob couldn't do.
Yeah. Now, Bob Neal, just for those of you who don't know, was Elvis's technically second manager, his first real one, if you will. I forget how he was connected or where he came from, but Elvis's first real manager was Scotty Moore, the famous guitarist, Elvis's first guitarist, because at the time Sam Phillips had thought that it would be a good idea if Elvis was managed by somebody that he knew and trusted.
Because at that time, also too, there were a lot of con men, a lot of shady characters during that time, and
Sam saw that there was some serious potential with Elvis. So,
and Scotty had a good head on his shoulders. Yeah. He was smart. So
and he was established. He was I think a little older than Elvis, if I recall. Already had a family, I think, at that point too.
Yeah, so he was a good role model, good head on his shoulders. So he was the first one.
So then Bob Neal, and then now cue Colonel Parker. Here we are. So he shows up on the scene, and based on his circus and pony days, his what do they call it, the dog and pony show or whatever.
That's what he excelled in.
But based on that type of hype and that type of carnival atmosphere, if you will, he saw that. For all the hype that was going on with Elvis at the time that was starting to really, really ramp up, he saw something in this guy. He's like, he felt that he can basically capitalize on it. I mean, let's be real.
Yes. Nothing was ever free.
Right. Exactly.
Nothing. Everything had a price behind it. Yeah. And he made sure he got his cut too.
So he recognizes this in Elvis, and he starts. At first, it was like more of a consulting role. He was basically consulting as like a publicist for Elvis and how to basically kind of get his image.
The marketing, PR, promotions.
Because Bob Neal yet was not ready initially to let Elvis go. But then, of course, fast forward a little bit, and you've got a time where Bob Neal's like, I can't do this anymore.
It was a lot.
And then, of course, Parker was ready to step in immediately and say, I'll take care of it. And, of course, he did. So now we are around the Louisiana Hayride days. So we're talking, what, early 50s or something? Or, I'm sorry, 55, 56, 50, 54.
54, 55.
He's around the Hayride days. He's thinking, I got to take this guy a little bit further. So he kind of arranges for the TV shows and things like that.
Well, Colonel Tom was the one who contacted Milton Berle.
Okay.
And said, I got a kid I want you to see.
Yeah.
Can I bring him out and can you give him a little test?
Mm-hmm.
See what you think and what the crowds think.
Yep.
So Colonel Parker, Tom Parker, I can't call him a colonel. I don't know. He's just not a colonel.
Right.
But anyway, do
Is
you know how he got that name?
Yeah, it was some kind of political thing, I think. And
Yeah.
then in a thank you for the work that he did or whatever, and helping promote or whatever this person's political aspirations, he gave him an honorary title of colonel. And of course, Colonel thought that was pretty cool.
Am I going to get a title one day?
Are you going to get a title? You already had one, Charlie.
I'll give you a title, Tom. No, so Colonel, when he was with Elvis, he saw. Colonel Tom Parker was a businessman. He was a salesman. He was a promoter. He was a marketer. He created the first really large scale merchandising. Because everything, sold everything from buttons to 45s, to the albums. Everything was money.
Yeah, it was always that.
And Colonel Parker, from going back to the carnival, you go to the carnival, you're paying money. You want to be entertained. Mm-hmm. You want to see the biggest, the best,
right?
The thrill.
Right.
What did Elvis give his audience?
Yeah, the biggest, the best, and the thrill. So there you go.
And that's where the partnership started.
Yeah, for sure. It's around this time where two kind of important things that came out of that, if you will. One was, at the time we had mentioned, or at least we started to mention, Hank Snow. Now, Hank Snow was also obviously a very popular star in his own right, more on the country.
Yes, more in the country
side of things. And he and Colonel Parker had done a partnership in some kind of, what was it, a management company or something like that?
It was the music, music promotions. That's when Elvis was also on that bill.
Right. So Hank Snow, just from a musical standpoint, I don't think cared for Elvis to begin with, right? Now, you more know about that.
Well, because, Hank Snow was, he was older.
Yeah.
He took his music, his guitar, he took everything very, very serious.
Yeah.
Then you have this young rebel kid who was
guy.
vulgar, shaking everything and all over the place and flipping his hair. And that was a little bit too much for Hank Snow to handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not impressed, and he didn't think Elvis had any future in him.
Yeah.
Wrong.
As far then as the partnership that Hank Snow and Colonel Parker had in this promotion business, when Elvis and Parker made the deal to have Parker become his full-time manager in addition to publicist and pretty much everything else for him, the partnership with Parker and Hank Snow took a big bad turn because what happened was Parker signed an exclusive deal to be the only person and to represent Elvis, and also that would be the only person he himself would represent. So he wasn't going to get involved into promoting anybody else
like
or
an
anything.
Exclusive.
Yeah, it was an
promoter.
An exclusive partnership that he had. Hank Snow, on the other hand, was under the impression like, hey, we have this partnership doing this promotional gig. Where's my cut, basically? And in true Parker fashion, he basically told him to stick it and said, more along the lines of, hey, he signed, it was my name that was on the signature to be his exclusive manager, not yours. From there, I don't know that they ever recovered from that relationship.
No, and then even him and Eddie Arnold, they had a falling out, and they didn't talk for many years.
Yeah. So now Elvis is on his way. Doing the TV shows. He eventually gets him into the movies at this point, I believe.
Oh, also promoted him while Elvis was in the Army. he made sure that Elvis's name
That's a big key. Yes.
was still in the press, still known.
Yeah.
Strategically timed a release of 45s and albums.
Yeah, because we go from the hayride shows to the early TV shows to the Army, where Elvis gets drafted. Now everybody, of course, thinks at this point, that could be the end of it. Like, what's going to go on with Elvis? What's going to go on with his career? And he basically told Elvis, "I will take care of everything. You go do what you got to do."
Colonel Tom was also the one that negotiated the RCA deal.
That's correct. Yeah, right. So the RCA deal was when RCA bought Sun Records, or the contract from Sun Records for Elvis. So they got the rights to his recordings. They got the rights to Elvis, obviously, to record with RCA. And in that contract, at the time, it was a pretty big deal. I think it was $35,000, if I recall, was the sum.
He originally wanted like 40,000.
But either way, it was at the time a pretty unheard of sum.
Yeah, that's some big money.
Yeah, but Sam Phillips, he also saw that that Elvis was going to be bigger than he could do and handle, and he knew that he needed to get out and go to someplace bigger that was going to, get him more exposure, that kind of thing. So sticking around at Sun Records really wasn't going to cut it. But he wasn't willing to let Elvis go for such a short little pretty penny. So he negotiated this thing with Colonel Parker, and Parker paid him. And that actually maybe won't be one of the rare deals that Parker got a didn't really necessarily get his way on, I don't think. But yeah, Elvis goes off to the Army. And he's being kept. And what were some of the songs that were released then? Do you remember some of those that were while Elvis was in the Army? The Colonel,
what was the one? Won't you wear my ring around your?
Yeah.
I was like, won't you wear my neck around your ring?
Really?
What was the other one? Hard-headed woman.
Yeah. Don't, I think, was another one, maybe. I got stung.
Oh, the one night.
One night, yeah, that was another
Christmas
one.
album.
I didn't know that. Was it the Christmas album? Was the other one?
So Colonel kept made sure people did not forget about Elvis. Elvis gets out of the Army. He was obviously more mature, and he wants to be taken seriously. He wants to go into acting. So Colonel Parker at that time had his connections. He was friends with the Hal Wallace. The Colonel also had a music publishing company that had his own artists, his own songwriters. The contract deal between what was it, 31 movies Elvis ended up making.
Yeah.
And each one of those had a soundtrack. So Colonel arranged for Elvis to be in a movie, Elvis to be a soundtrack. Elvis sells both of them. Both of the movie and the soundtrack promote Elvis.
Oh, geez.
So it was he was a salesman.
Yeah.
He was a businessman.
So he was making money.
He was making
in multiple
money
different ways.
So then the songs that were in the soundtrack were not as well written as the prior songs, because you had the writing team that was part of Colonel Tom Parker's publishing company with his writers. Oh, and guess who got a cut?
Who?
Colonel Tom Parker.
Really?
Yeah. So all those songs from the movies, Parker got a cut. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah.
And you can see with him, that's why Elvis was getting frustrated after a while, because he was getting burned out of the movies.
Yeah, and he wanted out of the contract.
Well, another thing too with the movies were safe.
Yeah.
They were instant money.
Yep.
You got money from the movie. You got money from the soundtrack. You got money he got his kickback.
Yep.
It was quick, fast, easy money.
Well, and here's another thing that the Colonel did too. Because of exactly what you were saying, he made sure that these movies were kept on a tight schedule. He wanted short timelines. He wanted the shooting of the movie to be done quick and efficiently. He wanted very little changes to anything. If it was scripted out, it was pretty much the way he wanted it. He didn't want to them dilly-dallying around and trying to rewrite everything.
It was just chop.
Yeah, it was
crank it out, make some money, go.
Yeah, and then on to the next movie.
Yep.
Like, it's exactly how he would operate with that. And then now knowing that he was getting all these other cuts, that would make a lot more sense as to why he would be doing that, which is kind of nuts. In the meantime, you got Elvis is like, you're doing me no good. You also have, in the meantime, let's not forget this whole British invasion, these four guys coming over from across the Atlantic, making a giant splash. And next thing you know, Elvis looks up and there's signs of Elvis who, as people are going crazy for the Fab Four. So, so this is just gnawing on him, and he can't wait to get out. And in the meantime, him and the Colonel will continue their relationship, right? They had.
Oh yeah, they needed. I have my own opinions, but I truly think they both needed each other to survive.
Yeah, there's no question.
And Elvis was the talent, the creator, the entertainer. Parker was the promoter.
Right. And
he never once gave him advice on music, songs.
Correct.
He never gave him that.
Yeah.
But he promoted the crap out of him.
Yeah, he did. He stayed away. There was an interview with on Nightline. I think it was maybe 10 years after Elvis passed, and it was Ted Koppel was talking to him, and Parker basically said, "Look, he was asked. He's like, what made you two so successful?"
They say anybody else could have done it, perhaps so, but I happened to be the one that was with him. He did his part, I did mine, and there is no answer for that.
And he was like, "I did my job. He did his."
Kind of like us.
Yes, exactly. Like Kathy said, he says, I didn't recommend anything. He said, the only thing I ever recommended was "Are You Lonesome Tonight?" That was it, because he thought it would be a good hit for him. He said, other than that, he goes, I didn't even go to Parker said he didn't even go to the recording studios when he was there. So he had no influence or input, and he just let Elvis do and work with the guys, the songwriters or whoever, to put out the music that Elvis wanted to put out. As long as he did his contractual obligations, the Colonel was fine with it.
And the fan clubs.
Yeah.
And, the money that was coming in, selling all the, all the little stuff.
Yep.
Do you know about the Snowman Club?
No, I haven't heard about that.
Oh, another one.
What's this
The Snowman Club was a club that the Colonel created.
Yeah.
And you mailed in your money and you got a book. And you became a member of the Snowman Club.
What's the significance of the Snowman Club?
Well, you got this book, and you were an honorary snowman, and when you open it up, all the pages were blank.
What?
Because a real snowman knows how to read between the lines.
What?
He sold blank books.
What? Are you serious?
Girl Scout.
Oh my gosh. That's insane.
Sold blank books. That's how good of a promoter, con artist.
Wow.
He
That's amazing.
Yeah. No, but he was Gladys didn't like him.
There was a lot of people that didn't like Tom Parker.
Scotty didn't like him.
Yeah.
Bill didn't like him. There was a lot of people that did not think highly of him.
A lot of the Memphis Mafia did not care for him.
Yes, they didn't like them, like him. So there was some, you can see where that tension was.
Yeah.
But he sold Elvis.
Yep.
He made sure that those fans that were buying the ticket got a show.
Oh, for sure.
And this goes back to being in the carnival. You go to a carnival, you want to have your best time at the carnival. You want to have the best thrills, the shiniest things.
Yep.
And I think too, all the bling and the shiny, all that just was part of selling Elvis.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the guy now, if you fast forward beyond the movie years, now we're into the Vegas years, and he's at the International, which eventually became the Las Vegas Hilton in Vegas, and where Elvis was performing his first return other than the '68 comeback. He's getting these shows. Elvis was nervous because the first time they went out to Las Vegas in the 50s, it was a bomb. He totally bombed.
It was like a 4-week contract, and they after 2 weeks they canceled it.
Yeah, and
bad reception. Nobody was impressed.
Yeah, and the Colonel was the one who got him into that. And into that. So now they're back at Vegas. He's all worried about it. But what happens is Elvis goes on stage after all these years, and he knocks out the audience. I mean, they go crazy for him. He sounded great. He looked great. The show was tight. He got he got the Imperials to back him as far as backing vocals. He had his Sweet Inspirations that he started off with. This is the first time you get introduced to the TCB band, with Glenn Hardin and Ronnie Tutt and James Burton and John Wilkinson and Charlie, of course, behind, and then also Joe Gershow is now introduced in this. So you get this tight-knit band, this tight-knit show going on. And what happens is for one of the rare few times that the Colonel actually was in the showroom to watch one of his shows in Vegas, he's at a table and he's with the owner of the International at the time. I want to say Kirk Kerkorian, perhaps. Well, this is the infamous tablecloth deal. So basically,
oh yes, okay.
So they're sitting down at the table. They've got a table. Elvis is on stage performing. And it basically hits Colonel as he's talking, to the owner, that there is something magical here happening right now. Like there is some, and of course the Colonel being, I got money on my mind. There's got to be something going on here.
How much can I make? How much can I make?
He's like, I got to take advantage of this right now. So basically what happens is he literally pens out a 5-year contract for Elvis in Vegas on the tablecloth right in front of them as they're performing on stage. I'm sure a lot of you have known about it. I'm sure a lot of you have seen. I think it was in that new movie too with Austin Butler, Elvis. So who else could have done that? Who else could have sat down and in the course of just a conversation realize, hey, I hear what I hear, I see what I see. This is the opportunity. I'm going to seize it right now. And he does on a tablecloth. And that's how Elvis got 2 gigs a year for 5 years at the Las Vegas Hilton. Well, in the International / then it ended up being the Las Vegas Hilton. And it was just an insane thing. But that was also then the start of, now we're on this heavy tour schedule. And this is where things kind of start to develop, where they start to have, they weren't problems at first, but basically Elvis is starting on this much bigger schedule than he had before.
A lot of stress.
Yep, he's touring a lot. So they're going from town to town, try to put these things together. So he is working, the Colonel is, to, help, keep his image up, get him going. Now, mind you, here's the other thing. Other than the studio sessions from the American Sound Studios from '69, other than that, Elvis really isn't doing anything other than touring. Right?
Yeah, right. Just putting on shows.
Yeah. Not really in the recording studio. We get to like 72, he cranks out Burnin' Love. That was about it. I mean, and so now, he goes into Madison Square Garden. Now that is a big thing here. We're Elvis in Madison Square Garden. First time in New York, and I think since the TV shows maybe. And he's going to do these I think it was 3 or 4 shows at Madison Square Garden, which they turned out to all be phenomenal. Obviously, one was put together on an album, so you have that whole gig. But then you start to see, pretty much after that, then you get to the Hawaii concert, and you put that together. Now, that was a big thing. So Parker was behind all that, And
the thing is, to look at him, you wouldn't think by looking at him that he wasn't a genius. He knew what he was doing.
Right.
But he wasn't polished like a businessman.
No, not at all.
And that's the weird part of it. It's just like,
Yeah, well, he was a very shrewd businessman too, by many accounts.
Oh, he would dock their pay if they were late to showing up.
But at the same time, as much as a shrewd businessman he was, there were also the same people would say in the same breath, but his word was as good as his handshake. Like, he was that kind of person. When he came and he reached a deal with you, like, that was it. It was like, okay, we got a deal, and I guarantee you're going to get the show you're paying for.
Yeah, he was a unique character.
Yeah, he was
unique, and they needed each other to survive.
Yeah.
But like everything, it grew old, and the tension and the fighting, and then the words between them.
Yeah, right.
And then the words with the Memphis Mafia, they did not care for him.
A lot of the Memphis Mafia didn't care for him. A lot of the Memphis Mafia think that he had a lot to do with really running Elvis ragged and wearing him down to the point of where he was more dependent on the prescriptions. He was more drained. He was, in my opinion, you get to like mid 70s, 75, 76, 77. His voice was no longer what it was. I don't think. He was tired. You can tell he was tired, I think.
And it's almost like, going back to the circus.
Yeah.
How long could the Colonel sell Elvis,
right,
the circus,
right,
and eventually the animal, the performer, gets tired.
Right. And I think
he kept pushing and pushing and pushing.
Oh, for sure. But I think Elvis kind of recognizes, because then, 74, 75, the script comes along with Barbara Streisand to do the movie that Chris Christopherson ended up taking, and the name escapes me right now.
A Star is Born?
Yes, A Star is Born. Elvis was the one they wanted for that movie.
Oh, that would have been...
And that would have been, at the time, that would have revived his career. Mm-hmm. Now, remind you, at this point, we're talking at the point where, his health is starting to take a toll, and they recognize that. And I think Elvis even had a meeting, about this movie, but it was the Colonel that said, no, I don't think it's good for you. The Colonel was the one to put an end to it.
Colonel held him back on so many things, and again, Elvis was a man, he could have stood up and said something back. Well, the gold lame suit that he wanted to wear, Colonel wanted him to wear for the 68 special.
Yeah.
And Elvis was like, no.
Yeah, we're done with that.
And so, good for Elvis for standing up. So then after a while, did Elvis feel like he owed himself to the Colonel?
Probably, to a point.
Because the Colonel made him.
Yeah.
But they needed, it was a, like any relationship, they needed each other to survive.
Yeah.
But things break after a while, and you saw it crumbling.
Well, and for sure. And he got, I forgot, 2 or 3 times, I think he actually fired him, or technically.
And then there was the gambling behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, that was the other big part of it. So where I alluded to earlier when it was at Vegas, I said it was one of the rare times that Parker was actually in the showroom to actually see Elvis perform. Normally, you go to Vegas and
he was playing the
and
tables.
He was lost. He was out in the casino floor, and he was constantly, by many accounts, out there getting lost in the casinos, losing money like crazy.
So isn't that something with that addiction, that he was so driven and a penny pincher and all about making money?
Yeah, that's crazy. You're right.
Then he goes and thinking that these machines are going to make him more money.
Yep.
To the point where it was millions.
Yeah.
That he was indebted.
Yeah.
To, was it Hilton?
The Hilton. Yeah.
Like 30 million or something.
Yeah.
So you had this addiction that he was hiding by promoting the greatest entertainer in the world.
Right.
I mean, there's like some deep levels there.
Oh, sure. And I think, and maybe I'm misreading into this, or maybe I heard this somewhere, but wasn't that deal that they did a part of to cover for that, the 5-year deal on the tablecloth?
To wipe some debt clean? Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I don't know that for sure, but I thought I heard that. But yeah, you have this relationship that, you've got this crazy balance of, on one hand, it's he needs this guy because nobody else can really figure out how to promote him, and he puts him out over and over and over again on these tours, all over and over. On the second hand, he holds them back so much for so many things. They couldn't go overseas, of course, because the colonel was worried as an illegal alien, even though he had opportunities to become a U.S. citizen, he never took them. And he, for whatever reason, which is still odd to me, because when I was reading about all that, it was like he had a realistic opportunity to do that. I think part of it was that there was some kind of program when he came over the second time, and they said basically if you fight in the war for the U.S., you can become eligible to become a U.S. citizen. All you got to do is fill out the paperwork, and then whatever else was entailed. He probably, I think he did not want to fight in the war. I think it was World War II, if I recall. And so he never took advantage of becoming a U.S. citizen. So every time Elvis, would have loved to have gone back to overseas and do performances because he had a global fan base, of course, Colonel's nixed it for whatever reason. He came up with an example or a reason that you couldn't go. It's bad for you. You're doing so well here in the U.S. What, blah, blah, blah. Let them come to you, whatever. Just the constant showman, you put the guy out there, no encores ever. You leave him wanting more all the time. That's why you never saw an encore from Elvis. That's why as soon as it was done, you hear Al Dvorin saying, Elvis has left the building, so.
Always leave them wanting more.
Always leave him wanting more because
because that means there's going to be another future ticket sale.
And the whole atmosphere in the concert years was all carnival beforehand and at intermission time, whenever there was an intermission between the big act, the beginning act, and then Elvis's show. So it was all hawking all the stuff, and you've seen probably videos of this stuff. It's on YouTube if you haven't. You see them, hawking all these merchandise and posters and keychains and just all the crazy, crazy stuff, just like a whole carnival atmosphere. They're barking literally over the microphone as they're trying to get people to buy into all this stuff. It's crazy. So yeah, and so you had this relationship that was heading towards a downward slide, I would think, at the end.
I think as Elvis 75, 76, as the changes started happening and the Colonel's gambling, I think the Colonel was afraid deep down inside. Yeah,
I think so. And that's also when the Colonel got really, really mad at Elvis missing gigs because of his health. There have been multiple stories, and these are pretty much all come from the Memphis Mafia from what I had seen. Elvis was like, he's sick. He's hours before a show, the day of the show or whatever like that. Can't get out of bed. Can't do this, that, or the other. The Memphis Mafia guys are trying to take care of him. They can't get him going. He needs medical attention. Colonel busts in and he's like, "What's going on here? I don't care what it takes. You get him out on that stage tonight." And blah,
like
blah,
a
blah,
circus
blah, blah.
animal.
Yeah.
You get that pony out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how it became the last few years, according to I think several of the Memphis Mafia guys.
And then I think Vernon questioned a lot of things too.
I think he did. Yeah.
I mean, because you're always going to defend your family.
Yeah.
And the way the Colonel treated everyone, and then the Colonel was afraid because he was losing his star.
Yeah.
And you lose the star, that means Colonel has no income. He has no money.
Yeah, because remember, he exclusively was representing him. He had nobody else he was representing at all. So
there's no Elvis, there's
no
money.
money. Exactly. So that's the whole premise that he was operating against. So yeah, it was just a we get to the point, then he does his last set of concert performances. He goes out there. Obviously, Elvis isn't in the greatest health. He doesn't look well. There were, part of that last concert performance for CBS, the Elvis in concert.
Okay.
They did 2 shows. One was in Rapid City, South Dakota, and the other one was also, I forget it, Iowa maybe. Anyway, the point was, out of all the material they showed for that 1 hour show, it was basically taken from one show, and I forget which one it was, because the other show was so bad, according to several accounts, that it was basically unusable with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 or 4 songs. And so Elvis's last performance ended up on, ironically, Colonel's birthday on June 26th. of 77 at the Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. But yeah, it was it finally just all came to a head, and just the whole health issues, which again is a whole nother topic. That all took their toll, and then that was pretty much it.
So, in summary, Elvis needed the Colonel. Colonel needed the Elvis.
That was
They
what it
kind
came
of
down
both
to.
destroyed each other.
Yeah.
They both made each other money,
Yep.
and then they both destroy each other.
Yep.
It was very unique. It's a very unique story in the entertainment world. And
Yeah.
I don't think, I'm sure there's other, stories like that out there, but I don't think you're going to have the extent of, what was it, 20 some years?
For whatever reason, when Elvis passed, Colonel Parker did not go to the funeral itself. No, he did. Didn't you tell me?
Cemetery.
Is that where? And he stood off to the back
stood
or
off to
something?
the side.
Okay, yeah. One
So,
pretty blah,
so
blah, blah.
love him, hate him, controversial. I mean, the Colonel Tom was a unique character.
Yep, for sure. Yeah,
It's a very interesting story. It's a sad story,
yeah,
but very, very, very unique.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it was a career that exploded onto the scene based on Elvis's talent. But then again, I don't think if you had Parker, we wouldn't be sitting here today doing this show. I'm sure.
You're right.
Yeah, because they're just the phenomenon continued after Elvis passed for so many years. It still continues today. I mean, you still see from year after year after year after year. I mean, there's still all kinds of things coming out, all kinds of new events, new albums, new this, that, or the other. I don't know that all this would be happening. We wouldn't have this show if it wasn't for the groundwork that Parker had laid for Elvis and built that whole time, because he basically was building a legacy. You can look back now and call it that. We didn't know it at the time.
Right, you didn't know it.
But you can definitely look back now and call it that. I think, again, regardless of what you think of him, there was just some definitive groundwork that put you where we are today, I think. So yeah.
Love him or hate him.
Yeah.
We thank him. We're mad at him.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we all have our different opinions.
Yeah.
But he did create the legacy.
Yeah. So let us know what your opinions were down below in the comments, and let us know what you think of Colonel and what he did or didn't do for Elvis in his career. Be sure, if you enjoy this show, if you please like, share, subscribe. Feel free if you do subscribe. It is free, and you become one of our EIP members, as we will give you that moniker, if you will, just simply for subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. We'd be happy to have you and have you be a part of our community. And we hope you're really enjoying some of the things that we're doing here on the channel so far. So thanks for joining us for that. We really appreciate it. And at this point, until next time, we will see you later. This has been the Elvis Impact.
It's good.
It
the
is.
Elvis Impact.
Yeah, whatever. But
Thanks for joining us.
Yep. See you guys.
Peace.